All right, man, peace. So, brothers, thus far as we've investigated this Ayesha Curry storyline, we've seen how convoluted things can become if we're not quite sure exactly what's being said or what we're looking at. In my view, so many so-called black men out there, especially these MGTOW and red pill dudes, they're trying to turn this into a case against Ayesha Curry and against women. It's not about this man versus woman paradigm or dynamic. It's the man's job to guide the woman, and if she refuses to be guided, you leave her alone. Shun her, let her be, let her go on about her business. We have to understand the woman. Stop trying to change the woman. Understand the woman so that you know what to deal with and what not to deal with, so that we know who to deal with and who not to deal with. What Ayesha Curry stated is her husband's problem. That's not everybody's problem. Everybody wants to attack Ayesha Curry and make her out to be the worst person on the planet Earth. At the end of the day, she's been with Steph Curry for over 10 years. They have 3 children together. She felt comfortable enough to get on television or to get on some type of syndicated program on the internet and make the declaration that she made. And what was more revelatory than anything else was how miserable she is because she is so jealous of him. But once again, that's a him problem. That's not an all men problem or anything of that nature. If you're still trying to figure the woman out, or if you're still upset with the woman because it's a new thing to you, it's a new revelation to you that women can be petty, women can be jealous, women can be obsessive, they can be insecure. I mean, shit, they have a TV show called Insecure written by a so-called black woman. What is she trying to tell you? We have to move forward now. We have to move onward now and operate on a higher wavelength because, brothers, no disrespect to the woman, but they're not that complex. Women are nowhere near as complex as the television wants men, and especially young boys, to think that they are. They're nowhere near as mysterious as the television wants you to think that they are. Women, for the most part, are very carnal and two-dimensional, and that's no disrespect. Are there exceptions to that rule? Absolutely. But for the most part, that's what they are. And if you approach the woman with the mentality that is a child with breasts, I promise you that things will go much better. So anyway, I'm just going to use this television show here as a backdrop, Speak for Yourself, which is the Jason Whitlock show on Fox Sports 1. In my view, it's the best sports talk show on television. There's not even a close second, and I'll probably be using it for more backdrops from here on out. They had a panel where they decided that they were going to discuss this situation from a man's perspective. And for the most part, really almost 99% of the time, when you watch this show Speak for Yourself, Jason Whitlock, who the wokey woke blacks and the pro blacks don't like so much, but for the most part, when you watch this show, Jason Whitlock has a panel of all black men on the show. So let's see what they have to say regarding this Ayesha Curry situation. Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
All right, guys, we're going to take it to the Curry household, where Steph's wife Ayesha went on Jada Pinkett's show, Red Table Talk, a few days ago and talked about...
As you brothers can see, a lot of the cats on the panel, they're already aggravated by this.
Talking about some of her insecurities of being married to a superstar. Take a listen.
Something that really bothers me and honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that, yeah, there are all these women throwing themselves, but me, the past 10 years, I don't have any of that. I have zero, this sounds weird, but male attention.
Brothers, once again, the woman lives her life comparatively and competitively, but particularly comparatively. That's why, for the most part, they're extremely miserable. When you see these females who claim to be so upstanding and they know how to conduct themselves, and they're on the internet trying to check other women and saying, how dare Ayesha Curry disrespect Steph Curry in that way? You know why they're saying that? Because they don't have the options that Ayesha Curry has. Their life is not as illustrious as Ayesha Curry's is. For the most part, the vast majority of females operate on the same wavelength. Are there differences? Are there little subtle nuances there? Sure. Are there exceptions to the rule? Absolutely. But for the most part, they operate on the same wavelength. And they're still trying to check her because they're upset at the statement that she made years ago pertaining to women dressing like sluts and whores on the internet for attention. So that's why they're so upset with her. And another thing, brothers, and I've mentioned this in other videos, you have to grasp and accept the concept and the notion of the woman wanting to go through her whore phase. Many of these females are not satisfied with life unless they've gone through or experienced some type of whore or slut phase where they go to various clubs and bars and lounges and have sex with random men to feel empowered, because that's what many of the females around them, especially their female family members or female friends, or these all-female television shows like The View or whatever these shows are that give terrible advice to young women. That's what they're told to do. They're told, you're 19, you're 20, you're 21, you're 22. You should be out dating and having sex with different men and having fun times, so on and so forth. Ayesha Curry strikes me as someone who never got to experience her whore phase. Or if she did, it was not long enough for her. And she's yearning for that to a certain degree. So once again, that's something for Steph Curry to watch out for. That's something for him to watch out for. But once again, the fact that she felt so comfortable being so transparent about her insecurities tells me that, you know, she's linked to that man. She loves that man. She's just operating on that normal, basic female level of insecurity and jealousy, so on and so forth. Always remember, the woman is motivated and moved by jealousy and boredom. Okay? And right now, Steph Curry, and of course also hypergamy. But who the hell is she going to swap out Steph Curry for? Nobody. Nobody. And also, she's seeing her sexual mortality. She's 30 years old. She has 3 kids. She has put on weight. She already has a round face as it is. So, I mean, that happens. That happens with females. No matter how much they might try to avoid it. If they're not in the gym 2 hours a day, their body is going to change after 3 children. The look of their face is going to change as well.
And so then, like, I begin to internalize it, and I'm like, is something wrong with me?
Yes, there's something wrong with you. You're jealous and silly. But that's 99.9% of women. So you're okay.
Would you be okay with your wife saying this? You ain't married, but what you gonna say, Whitlock? What you got?
Let me say this very quickly, because that's a different question, and that's why I wanted to use this segment. And that's how we have to evaluate situations. We just can't make everything a blanket understanding. We do have to consider that that's a Steph Curry issue, and he knows that woman better than anybody else knows her. Now, if that's your lady, and she decided to say something like that publicly, and you've been together for 10, 12, 15, 20 years, I would assume that you're accustomed to that, and that you know how to deal with that, and that it's not a major issue. That's why you've been together that long. Either that, or things are so frayed in your relationship that you're prepared for whatever at that point anyway. Once again, brothers, you always have to monitor everything going on in your life. Your woman, how she's conducting herself. You know that if you're around someone for a certain period of time, you become accustomed to their ways. If their ways change, that can be an indicator that their mindset is changing. The woman alters herself periodically, so you have to keep track of what she's doing, how she's thinking, how she's perceiving things, because they are emotional creatures. They lead with their emotions. But if you're a brother who's not going to tolerate that level of disrespect, the woman talking about wanting to be flirted with by other men, it's up to you to decide what to do. I know what I would do. Ain't nobody coming out publicly talking about they want attention from other men. Not only can you get attention from other men on Instagram, you can get it directly to your phone. You can have a nice day.
I'm going to keep it 1,000%. Yeah. One of the things in my 20s and even in my 30s, I used to put women on a pedestal and thought.
Hey, brothers, you hear that? This is why I like this show, because this is real talk. And I give Whitlock credit for being able to acknowledge his simp programming. A lot of you cats suffer from simp programming all throughout your teens, 20s, until you make a series of errors and misjudgments and mistakes dealing with these thotties out here. Because you guys do put them on pedestals. You view them as goddesses, and you become emotionally attached to women. You're not supposed to be emotionally attached to a woman. That's a very unhealthy way to love, if indeed you love that woman. But a lot of cats out here do not even know how to love either. It's not until they get into their mid-30s, 40s, etc. that they start to understand all the mistakes that they made. Let me rewind this back just a little bit. Let me rewind this back just a little bit.
Wife saying this? You ain't married, but what you gonna say, Whitlock? What you got? I'm gonna keep it 1,000%. Yeah. One of the things in my 20s and even in my 30s, I used to put women on a pedestal and thought they were different than me. And then in my 40s and certainly my 50s, I was like, oh no, anything I'll do, she'll do.
Absolutely. If a man will sleep with one of his female co-workers, the woman will do the same thing. If a man will meet a chick on a train or the bus or walking down the street and take their phone number, the woman will do the same thing. Or at the very least, she'll think the same thing.
And that's my whole philosophy. You're doing it with somebody. Yeah, anything I'm capable of doing and feeling, they're capable of doing and feeling. And so this doesn't surprise me.
Absolutely. Spoken like a wise man.
Look, when keeping it real goes wrong, Ayesha, guilty.
Right, but did keeping it real really go wrong for her? It's not like Steph is going to divorce her. So what? The internet is upset. Who gives a shit?
Look, my wife only wants my attention. At least that's what she says. Right?
Good comment. That's also spoken like a wise man. Good for you, sir. You understand that.
Right? And she's smart to say that. I have one issue with this. And it's not the woman, it's the wife. When you get into the wife identity, you got to...
Well, that's the issue right there, brother. Not to cut you off, but do these females even understand what the wife identity is? Are they allowed to understand what the wife identity is when they're raised in a society like this that tells them that they're goddesses and that they can speak, quote unquote, their truth? Brothers, once again, we have to operate according to our environment. You understand that? When you go to work in corporate America, you don't wear fatigues. When you go out to war, to battle, you don't wear a suit and tie. You have to dress according to your environment. We have to think according to our environment. We have to stop getting so frustrated by the woman. And the reason why cats become so frustrated by the woman in this society is because they don't know what the lead deity is for the masses in this society. The lead deity is the mother of harlots, the mother goddess, the whore archetype. When you grasp that, nothing surprises you.
You got to understand that you shouldn't even have that on the radar. It shouldn't be a registration anymore. But
it shouldn't be a registration, assuming that you have respect for your role and for your husband. Steph Curry has to check her. But maybe their standards of interaction and respect are different from what we would expect from our significant other. Once again, that's why I say that's a personal issue for him. And this notion that all of a sudden this situation makes Steph Curry a simp. No, it doesn't. Steph Curry been a simp. That dude always been a simp. He's always been controlled by women. So it's nothing new.
But you disagree? Okay, well, that's the problem I have with it. Because look, as a man, I have different roles and different responsibilities than I do as a father. When it's 8 o'clock and I'm going to bed because my son's going to bed, I'm sitting there. The man in me is like, damn, I could be out there with Jimmy Jackson somewhere going to get it, right? But the father in me is...
Look at Jim Jackson's face when Marcellus Wiley said that shit. He said, you damn skippy, we can go out there getting it. We can be out there getting it. Hitting them up 10 at a time.
He's sitting there taking it like, you know what? This is what I signed up for. Right. That's the only thing, like, struggling with the identity.
My question is this. Because she's married to Steph in the limelight, is that the overlying thought process? If she was just married to Joe the policeman, would she be saying the same thing?
Bro, what she's saying is that if she was married to Joe the policeman, they'd probably be divorced by now. That's the point. And that's why I tell you, brothers, situations like this should not get you upset. It should make you more meditative. It should make you want to sit back and contemplate the decisions that you make in your life even more. Because if a female like that, who's in the advantageous position that she's in, still has those type of thoughts, what does that mean for you, who's just a plumber or working at the construction site, or who's an electrician, or whatever job it is that you do? Imagine how disenchanted your woman might be. And are you prepared for that? Do you have the maturity level to say to yourself, I can live with a woman and be contractually obligated to be with just her for the rest of my life and deal with her shenanigans and the potential that she might leave me tomorrow just because she met someone else and she's scared to admit that, so she's going to trump up some charge against me? Are you ready for all that shit? That's what this situation should make you think about. It shouldn't make you upset with Ayesha Curry. Forget her. She's Steph Curry's wife. Stop worrying about other men's women.
That guys don't look at her.
Yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Well,
I see. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. A lot of times when you're in the spotlight like this, the camera changes you. The spotlight changes you. You start to look for things a lot differently.
Or it could be that the camera did not change her. It made her upset that the camera's not on her even more often. Once again, Ayesha Curry is with Steph Curry because she thought that their relationship was going to amplify her celebrity profile. She wants to be a celebrity desperately, as most of these females do. And as I've stated in another video or in other videos, for you cats, who was out there doing your thing in the 2000s, you know for a fact, every chick that you met, in the 2000s told you the same thing. They either wanted to be on America's Next Top Model or American Idol, because all these broads thought in the 2000s that they were models, even if they were only 5'3", 5'4", and they also thought that they were going to be a singer in the entertainment industry, even if they couldn't hold one note. The woman by nature is delusional. You have to deal with those things. And that's why I tell cats also, when you work on these jobs around these women, don't have serious conversations with them, man. No matter how they try to suck you into these serious conversations, keep it light. Because the woman does not know how to deal with serious conversations. They're not good with that. Are there exceptions to that rule? Sure. But it's not worth crossing that barrier or that threshold to figure out if she's an exception to the rule, if she's a diamond in the rough. You experiment on your personal time, not in your work life. Please keep that shit in mind.
And me as a husband, I'm like, look, baby, you ain't gotta worry about that. Don't even worry about that.
Why is that?
Why is that even important? But again,
it's important to her because she's letting you know that she's worldly. She's concerned with making sure that she achieves what her goal is, which is to have all the lights on her before she starts to get old. Remember, the man believes, or at least understands, that as he gets older, he actually becomes more marketable. If you're a man and you're 40, 45 years old and you keep yourself in good condition, that's you at the peak of your manhood, because by then you're in your career. For the most part, you might have a nice apartment, car, or a home, and that makes you even more marketable for women. In the woman's mind, when she hits 30, she's going to lose access to her sexual altar or her sexual archetype, because by 30, if she's not working out, she is going to start to decline physically, at least in her mind. And if she has children, when is she going to have time to go to the gym to put herself back out there on the market? That's how she's looking at it. And then on top of that, as she ages past 30, she becomes less fertile. So the dynamic is totally different when it comes to men versus women.
Why you looking there? Why you got an Instagram account?
Who?
That's what your wife is saying. Why you got an Instagram account?
They don't want to follow it.
I see who you follow and like it on Instagram.
That's my brand.
Whitlock is trying to get at Jim Jackson. Why are you on Instagram? See, Whitlock's thing is, you could tell that he's a recovered simp or a recovering simp, but as I've always stated, when it comes to simps, that shit is in their DNA. So the thing with simps is that when they get their hearts broke, they try to go to the other end of the spectrum and act as if they understand women, but that simp DNA is still in them, and it becomes activated, or it can be activated at any time to cape up for the woman in an emotional way.
The problem with this is she's gonna do all she's doing is creating more of an issue on both sides.
Right, but she does not care because she's an agent of chaos. Understand something, brothers. If Ayesha Curry wakes up today and sees 5,000 dick pics in her DM, she's gonna smile about it. I promise you that. She's not going to care. And Steph Curry is most likely not going to have access to her DMs, quote unquote. So she gets the joy of going through all these dick pics and seeing which one she likes the most. And she might save some. Always understand something. The woman is heavily interested in having a plan B. So don't sleep on that. Okay? Ayesha Curry does not see this situation as a source of entropy or anything of that nature. She loves it. Remember, the woman operates according to the credo of anarchy. The A with the circle around it. Whatever trouble they cause, all it does is create attention for them, and that's what they love. That's what they feed off of.
Women are now going to see her being insecure, and they're going to attack him even more. And then on the flip side, it's like she's opening a door for men.
For dudes to come into her DM.
Yes,
right now.
like,
It's
come
give me
on,
the
man.
information.
But
You
see,
don't
we
do that.
But we different.
No, we ain't. No, we ain't.
I'm gonna tell me this. Women, when you're out, they will compete in broad daylight for your attention.
Of course, because women have no shame. Once again, and I have no idea why people have this issue when I explain this, that a man can have more than one woman. Even if you're not a celebrity, say for example, if you have a woman, even a wife, and you work at a job in corporate America, if there's a chick there who likes you, she doesn't care until and unless you give in to her advances, you hit it, and then all of a sudden she wants to try to steal you from your woman. That's the only time that they care, is if they want to make it serious. But when it comes to cavalier intercourse, these women don't give a damn. That's why I say there's a difference between a wife and a concubine. That's the most important thing for cats to understand when they're trying to establish the rules of engagement in relationships. Are you talking to and or dealing with a wife material woman or a concubine material woman? And when I say wife material woman, I'm not talking about contractual obligation. I'm talking about a woman who you can take seriously and who takes herself seriously. You only take someone as seriously as they take themselves. But just to get back to the point, the woman does not give a shit if you have a woman. They do not care. They care way less than men, because men, for the most part, grasp that if you make a habit of trying to take the next man's woman, you're going to try to take the wrong man's woman, and eventually you're going to end up with something hot in your head. Men grasp that far more than women do.
Men just want to win. So guess what? They sneak macking. They know when there's opportunity and when there's not. Versus what she's registering is everybody just shooting a shot at Steph and missing. Don't
allegedly missing.
Don't underestimate dudes are sitting there like, oh, I'm waiting for my shot, but I know this ain't the time to shoot it right. But now they got
Yes, a lot of these dudes are going away, and that's why I stated that this is also a low-level SOS from Ayesha Curry. She's also letting Steph Curry know that if you ever do slip up and I find out about it, you better believe that I'm going to let somebody else hit it.
They opportunity because they feel like the door's been open.
You know how dudes is. She go to the bathroom, he got to go to the bathroom. They bumped into each other.
Okay. Hey, what about this?
Be like, oh shit, Ayesha, you Steph Curry wife. You still looking for some side dick?
See, this is the problem. You're right. You just open up Instagram.
I'm telling you, man, you got that rule, right?
Why did somebody send me this tweet? They said this is her in 2011, supposedly.
That's another thing, boy. Niggas on the internet looking for them Ayesha Curry receipts. God damn.
Don't really need the men trying to holler at me at the car dealership. I'm engaged. G's off the market. What? Hold on.
Because it was a new thing. I mean, come on. How you gonna go back 8 years to see what a woman was thinking 8 years ago? The woman don't care what she was thinking 8 minutes ago. Okay? What a woman says 8 minutes ago does not matter to her. What she thought 8 minutes ago does not matter. All that matters to her is what she's thinking right now. Much less 8 years ago. Like, come on. Remember when they kept pulling them Kevin Durant receipts when he said after LeBron James went to Miami, oh, I'm going to stay in OKC and build from here and all this other stuff. And they said, well, Kevin, why'd you go to Golden State? I mean, people change. If a man could change his mind over the course of 5 years like Durant did, you know damn well a woman going to change her mind in 5 seconds.
Which way you want it?
That camera is as addictive as drugs.
I agree with that.
Listen,
Which way you want it?
Listen, though, that's her at the beginning of their marriage. They're just engaged at that.
Agreed.
At that time, and so here she is, 8-9 years later. Her husband, she's like, damn, he got the same wedding ring on as I am, and that ain't stopped near a woman from hopping into his DMs and trying to throw themselves at. And just
absolutely. And she's so competitive with her own husband and so jealous of him that she does not understand that even if she was as famous as her husband, Steph Curry, there would still not be as many men in her DMs trying to hit it as there are women in his DMs trying to get him to hit it. Because the mind of the man and the woman are totally different. They're disparate.
And just at some point, it's like, I think what she's saying is like, I want the equality of having that same temptation my husband has. I want to show him I'm just as strong and I can, because maybe, and again, I guarantee you she's had this discussion with Steph before she got on.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that she's had that same discussion with him. That's why he responded the way that he did, because he's heard it before. And that's what I tried to communicate, or what I've tried to communicate to brothers in the videos that I've made on this topic. This is nothing new for Steph Curry. This is just something new for you, because a lot of cats out there bought into this notion that Ayesha Curry is so different from all other women and she's not a thotty and things of that nature. You could have a decent woman and she's still going to have thoughts about other men because she's a human being.
Got on TV and said this, her and Steph have had this conversation, and maybe Steph says, you know how hard it is? You know how many women throw themselves at me, but I'm loyal to you, baby.
Yeah.
She'd like to be able to say that right back to him. I deal with the same thing, and I'm loyal to you.
But why? To show that the effort shows more love and loyalty when I ain't got to deal with it, that's even better.
That's what's...
No, it's not better for her, Marcellus Wiley. It would only be better for her if she was not an attention monger. She wants the attention. And most cats out there understand, or at least by now understand, that the woman is addicted to attention like a crackhead is to a new rock. It's just their nature. So don't be quizzical about the meanderings of the woman. Don't wonder about why they look to inject themselves into situations that can cause problems for them. Let them do it. Your job is to tell the woman one time what the conditions are going to be. Very similar to how you tell a child, don't put your hands on that stove or you're going to get burnt. Once you tell them once, whatever they do is what they do. Sometimes people have to learn the hard way.
That's what some do. Listen, here's, and because I want to generalize about women, but in particular, when you start dating an attractive woman, and particularly she's been attractive her whole life, she's been fed attention. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. One of the main things that pisses off a very good-looking woman is if you ignore her. That fucks with them more than anything else in the world. And that's why it's so damaging to them when they hit that 30 mark or that 31-year-old mark and they start to notice their face and their body changing. Those crow's feet coming around their eyes. They're not quite sure how to deal with that.
Her whole life. Oh, yeah. And so when
that's why I told you, brothers, man, the woman goes through a series of phases. And that 29-year-old, 30-year-old phase, that's major, man. And very few people talk about this. When a woman gets around that age, she views that as the start of the deterioration of her sexual aspect. And that's very traumatizing for her. If she has a boyfriend at that time, she's either going to try to make him impregnate her or marry her. And if she does not have a boyfriend at that time, she's going to start to lose her mind and spaz out. Because in her view, her options are going to start to dwindle after the age of 30.
When she marries someone high profile and then they get the attention, oh, that's Steph Curry. Instead of because again, whenever the track
Ayesha Curry is starving for attention. Transfer that attention you're getting. She got showed.
Of course she's starving for attention, Marcellus Wiley. Ayesha Curry is not evaluating herself based on her own accomplishments. She's evaluating herself based on her accomplishments in juxtaposition to her husband. She's jealous of her man.
No, she got everything like what? You know what the problem is? People who think Ayesha has it all. You got the great family, the beautiful husband, all the money you can spend, and now you got this complaint when this is just on the streets in the hood complaint. Like.
No, it's not. That's not an on the streets in the hood complaint. That's a woman complaint. The woman by nature is a malcontent. Understand that, accept that, and your life will be much better. When you waste your time looking for a happy woman, you're going to live your whole life. You're going to be a nigga walking down the street with a big, long, white beard waiting to come across that type of shit. You better be concerned with serving the Most High and making sure that you're trying to make him happy. That's what counts. And that's why I say that in just about every video when I speak on this topic. These type of dudes out here talking about happy wife, happy life, that's simp rhetoric. That's all that is. There's no such thing as a happy woman. There's only a woman who's happy for a moment. That's it. The only time that the woman is happy or content is when she's trying to make her man happy. Whenever the woman has idle time, she's going to become miserable, she's going to become bored, and she's going to become envious of something or someone.
Like, I want some dudes to check me out of the car.
It's a human complaint to me because look at her mother-in-law. As beautiful as it.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem right there because you can tell, especially how jealous she is, that she looks at her mother-in-law and says, why are there more men checking for this 53-year-old woman than there are men checking for me?
Anybody
that's what the shot's going
on TV.
That's no problem.
She gets a lot of attention. Again, it's like, wow, she's dealing with a lot. She's just being too honest. I mean, the private thoughts that her and Steph have gone through, kept it a little too real, got too comfortable around some girlfriends, but I'm not going to mock her for it.
I agree with you, sir, and I agree with your summation. There was some simp shit in the midst of that. There was some simp shit in the midst of that. But overall, I agree with your intro and with your outro, so that's good enough. But once again, brothers, that was the discussion of these four brothers on the Ayesha Curry issue. So peace.